Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're diving in deep to one of my favorite things, old limited bourbon and double oaked. None other than Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend. Huge shout out to my buddy Kevin for letting me borrow this bottle for your enjoyment and review. So thanks again, Kevin. This came out in late 2022, but I think, well, PA hasn't dropped it yet. Just out there, getting dusty again in the warehouse, I guess. Double Barrel Blend here. So Parker's Heritage is a once-a-year release. They do different things. They've done a heavy char bourbon, heavy char rye. They've done, well, the year before was an 11-year wheated whiskey. Or actually, a wheat whiskey. I'm sorry, it was 11-year wheat whiskey. And a portion of the proceeds from every bottle benefit the ALS Foundation. So, couldn't ask you, bourbon with a cause, right? Now, this is 67%. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey aged 13 years and 33% Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey aged 15 years. So it's mostly, it's like, 13.5-ish maybe? If we were to, I don't know, we're not doing the math. It's mostly 13 year, some 15 year. Now, one knock on this bottle, beautiful bottle shape, one knock, cork. It's just a plastic topper, like not even wood, not a heavy metal. Like, come on, Heaven Hill, step up your game. Step up your game. You guys put out the Old Fitz Decanter series. You've done, even the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection has a wooden top. At least give me a wood top, not this plastic. All right, now there's a lot of words on the back, but we're not going to read all of them, but some of them are important. This is a 16th edition, in case you didn't know. Now, the 13-year-old bourbon was re-barreled in new American white oak barrels with a level 3 char for 4 weeks. So this might, besides craft distilleries, be like the shortest double barreling I've ever heard of. 4 weeks, that's it. Give me a year. Give me at least 6 months. 4 weeks? And then it was blended in later with the 15-year-old bourbon. So, there you have it. Non-chill filtered, of course. So, and then it does say here that even more oak and spice notes from the barrel creates a bold and balanced flavor profile with complexity of flavors. Well, there you have it. There you have it. So, have never tried this, have not sampled it. I poured a small amount because, hard to get, not my bottle. Kevin's lucky I didn't do an old right to the top pour on this bad boy. Alright, let me give it a nosing here. Sweet heavens, that's good. Woo! Oh my gosh. I get like cocoa dust here. Oak, I get red fruit berries. Just a heavy amount of seasoned oak, baby. And it's just like cocoa dust. Not cocoa, just like a light, wafty cocoa dust on top. Definitely some cherries, berries, oh my. All kinds of red fruit going on here. It's a nice dark red fruit, though, I will say, on the nose. It blends in perfect with that cocoa and the oak. Color, dark, just how we like it on this channel. Before I sip this, I did forget to mention the proof on this bad boy. It is 132.2. Compute 66.1% alcohol by volume. So she's stonking hot. Oh, man, this not that I have a bottle, so I'm comparing by memory, but this kind of smells like, like a good George T. Stagg. All right, let's dive into it. Let's take a sip. Oh, it's delicious. Very spicy on the tongue. It's hot. She drinks hot. I'm not sure how long that bottle's been open. This was sitting here about 10 minutes or so. But that bottle's been open at least probably for a month, I would say. Whew! Just still going. Long finish. It is kind of spicy. She's hot. I will say that although it has a long finish and it is very creamy on the mouthfeel, it still kind of comes off a little thinner than I'd hoped. Not that it's thin. Not that it's thin. I just, from the nose, I was a little bit let down on the overall viscosity note. But it is very creamy. Let's take a second sip. The palate is all just oak. I get some caramels and like some cocoa in there. There's a little bit of red fruit in the back, but it doesn't come through in the palate as much as it did on the nose. Very, like I said, very creamy on the mouthfeel. Dang delicious. It receives, I'm going to go with an A rating. Not an A+. I think there is a few setbacks here. The nose is definitely A+. It was very good. Good oak notes. The cocoa and oak come through pretty well. The red fruit's there a little bit, but not as much from the nose as I'd hoped. It's almost too hot and spicy for its own good. You know, I like Coy Hill, you know, but it seems to bring a lot of heat and sizzle and doesn't carry as much complexity as I had hoped for. But again, it is very good. I think had they double barreled this longer than 4 weeks, that it might have helped out. I don't know. The flavor's all there. It's just the overall heat and kind of a little bit lacking complexity for what I thought would be a more complex bourbon. So it gets a score of an A. Those are all nitpicky things. It is very delicious. If you see one for MSRP, you probably should buy it. Honestly, if you see one for $175, I would buy it. If you see them for some crazy high secondary price, I probably wouldn't. Now that's not all. We wouldn't leave you there. I thought, what readily available, nearly the same age bourbon and same proof could you find instead? Lucky 7, the proprietor. This happens to be the 14 year. The 15 years out this year. This is 14 years from last year. This was $150 last year. I think the new ones are like $180. So, same price. Same price bracket. Now, this obviously is not double barreled. Proof on this bad boy here is 134.5. Compute, 67.25% alcohol by volume. So this is Barton. Nearly, 2 proof points higher. Age roughly the same. Roughly the same age. And MSRP, the Barton's a little less. And this happens to also be a store pick from Bourbon Street in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. I don't know. Man, this is also just, it's very caramel. I get a little bit of chocolate here, a lot of oak here too. There's some red fruits, but not as many. This is a little bit more lighter caramel. I will say probably the nose goes with the Parker's Heritage. I'll give the nose Parker's Heritage, but they're not terribly that far off. Let's take a sip of the Lucky 7. Sadly, I think the Lucky 7's going to win. Complexity of flavor is higher on the Lucky number 7. Heat's dialed back for being a few proof points higher. This is all caramels, red fruits. There's a little bit of chocolate there. Not as much. It's not as dark as the Parker's Heritage. I like a dark bourbon. It's not as dark as that. But complexity of flavor is there, and the proof helps carry the flavor rather than overwhelm the flavor, which is what happened in the Parker's Double Barrel. Wow. In conclusion, I gotta say that if you can't find the Parker's Heritage Double Barrel, not quite the same flavor profile, but if you want something that high proof with that age, pick this up instead. These are a little more findable. They sell these on their website. Now, these aren't always 130 proof. There's some lower ones, but you can find one in the 130s. Certainly easier to find than the Parker's Heritage. And, depending on the price you got to pay, could be cheaper. So, well, that turned out to be a better comparison than I thought. I thought, this Parker's hair is going to crush it, but it didn't. I actually would give the win to the Lucky 7 proprietor tonight. Shock and gasp from the audience. I'm actually a little surprised myself. So if you like what we saw tonight, please like, comment, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button, everybody. Have a good evening.